film podcast where we go back and discuss a filmmaker's body of work, from their hits to their misses, even forgotten films, as well as genres, eras, movements, and everything in between. In this week's episode, we're checking out John Carpenter. Hey guys, this is Ian. Yeah, this is part 2. 2 weeks ago, we checked out Halloween and his big hit Memoirs of Invisible Man. I'm Ian Killian.
I'm Ben Riley.
Nick Creekbaum.
And I'm Jordan Muchno.
So feels like a while since
It does.
But it was only 2 weeks.
A little bit.
Long 2 weeks.
But before we get into anything, I want everyone to notice our new sick logo that was done by Brandon O'Neill.
Yep. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
It's very retro, and that squiggly at the end is bound to confuse us.
Yep.
But instead of talking about what we've been watching, I want to switch it up a little bit. I want to talk about let's talk about some music, some movie music. Some of our favorite scores, or if you guys even have like soundtracks, it doesn't matter to me. But
well, we may as well not start with Ben because we all know he's gonna lie. He's afraid.
Why would I lie?
He's afraid to admit whatever.
You're afraid.
No.
What does he think you'll
no
refuse
idea.
to pick? Let's hear it, Nick.
Something
because
like The Lion King or something.
Lion King is one of my favorite scores.
The Lion
Hans
King's
It's
great.
funny because I actually
he won
didn't
an
know
Oscar
that.
for it.
It's really great.
Have you ever heard it?
No, probably not. I saw the movie.
It's a great score. Like
Is it?
maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't like the soundtrack. Like
I love
Hakuna
that.
Matata.
yeah,
I love that Elton John. Yeah.
Elton John.
Well, that Hakuna Matata song.
yeah.
It's a
what
good
about
song.
it?
No, I'm saying. That's
Hans
what it
Zimmer
is.
is that he won an Oscar for that one,
Yeah.
and obviously he's made tons of ones that you have enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
So,
Nick's the one who's afraid to admit
Yeah,
he
what's
likes The
yours
Lion
then?
King.
You know damn well what mine is. You're just acting dumb.
It's that Prince song from
Why does it
Batman.
matter though?
It doesn't matter.
No, but I'm saying.
Well, let's hear. What's yours,
yeah, what
Batman?
is it?
Well, of course, mine is the
Oh.
Batman Returns score from Danny Elfman
Why?
because it's
Because it's cool.
great. If it didn't exist, I wouldn't like the movie as much as I do.
Yeah, I can see that.
It enhances the movie. I also really like the Basic Instinct score by Jerry Goldsmith, and that's for the same reason. It adds to the mood, the overall tone and mood of the movie. If it didn't exist,
Well, that's what the
like
music's supposed to do.
right, exactly.
So, Jordan, what's yours?
Well, the one I don't know about favorite. I haven't really thought about it
Yeah.
enough. But the ones I listen to
What's
the most
sticking
are
with you?
probably the It Follows score, which I think is by Disaster Piece,
Yeah.
Yep.
and the Under the Skin one, which I think is Michael
Levy,
Levy.
Levi, whatever.
They're
and
both
that's-
very stand out.
Under the Skin one is like intoxicating,
Yeah, creepy.
very seductive, and it really gets you in the mood too. I don't know.
Get spooked.
Yeah, get spooked. But how about you?
Mine. See, I was gonna do something like, what really music wise that made me notice in movies was like a soundtrack, was like the Life Aquatic soundtrack. Where it really stood out to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go with that. The one I probably listened to the most was Johnny Greenwood's for There Will Be Blood. That's just one I can still listen to today, just driving around.
I've been wanting to get that on vinyl, and I haven't been able to.
It's creepy. There's moments where it feels like that setting, that time period.
It's very diverse and consistent at the same time, because it's like cling clang at some points,
Yeah.
and then it has the
These
strange
big strings. You know?
Yeah, so I love that score as well. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
I've heard the Master one more than the There Will Be Blood.
I do
one,
have
but
that one on vinyl.
I love all
Oh,
three
that's
of the
awesome.
ones he
Yeah.
did for PTA because
Yeah. Even Inherent Vice is
that
really
one isn't
good
as
too.
memorable to me because
I
I
don't-
haven't
yeah.
seen it as much.
I
but
didn't remember that one.
But I still noticed it in the film. But
Who used to do the music? It was the same guy on all the previous movies too, wasn't
for
it?
Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
Is it- I'm trying to think who did Punch Drunk Love because I really like the score for that movie. I want it.
Loves me,
Maybe
loves
it's
me,
Thomas
loves me.
Newman. I don't know.
No.
No. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll continue. We'll think
Yeah.
about that later.
well, I wanted to bring up real quick. I just got
What about Ben?
well, you went, didn't you?
no.
Well, I got put on blast.
Okay.
for-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You fucking asshole.
Well, Well, The Lion.
I don't know what that was.
That was
Yeah.
someone with a microphone upstairs.
Yes, I do like The Lion King one a lot. You got me there.
Yeah.
I mean, even just we're on a John Carpenter episode. John Carpenter and
true.
his it's not always him by himself. There's usually someone else that's with him.
Alan Howarth.
Yeah, or what? I can't remember who else. There's a couple of different guys that are on random ones, but like all of his movies have that certain the certain style that just
ominous.
Synth driven.
Yeah.
Typically it's synth driven, but
Yeah.
then when it got into the 90s, it got more rock.
Yeah, I'm not as much a fan as that stuff, but it has its place, I suppose. But I'm definitely more into from like the Halloween on to Memoirs wasn't even done by him, so that one doesn't count. But
It seems most of the things he does besides directing, he does with like a partner, whether it's writing or the score.
When I was listening to the commentary on, we'll go into this when we talk about it, but the Escape from New York, that score, there was a featurette by Alan Howarth, and he said that Carpenter basically wrote the score for Escape from New York, and Alan Howarth basically came up with how the sounds sounded. So
collaboration.
everyone's asleep right now listening to this.
It's just funny to me because this
So
is
he
this is Nick's thing. He loves
Yeah,
movie
what is
scores.
it?
Yeah.
Sounds and soundscapes.
Sounds and cinema and soundscapes.
Probably hasn't been updated.
Scenes and
for a
soundscapes.
long
Failed
ass time.
Tumblr.
Failed Tumblr attempt.
I think I saw that Escape from New York was co-wrote by the director of Dennis the Menace.
Is that true?
Nick Castle, yeah.
Yes, that is
who
true.
also
He
played
directed-
Michael Myers.
He
in
directed. I didn't know he directed that.
Ooh.
He didn't direct it. Director of Dennis. Oh,
Yeah,
he directed
yeah.
Dennis the Menace when he
John Carpenter directed Dennis the Menace.
Yeah.
Pretty
Well,
sick, probably.
Real on a related note to the music, I wanted to bring up that I don't know if you guys purchased this, but Ben and I both purchased the Twin Peaks release on Mondo.
I have not.
For
I
their
don't have a
vinyl.
record player.
Angelo Badalamenti.
Badalamenti.
Yeah, Badalamenti.
Yeah.
But
Badalamenti.
I haven't opened it yet to listen to it, but I'm really excited to hear how it sounds.
I love that. I can also listen to that music all the time.
I forgot about that actually.
Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross too. Just the David Fincher
Is
stuff.
that your favorite?
I mean, I love Nine Inch Nails. So then, when he started working with David Fincher, it's just Social Network was amazing. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I think, is underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gone Girl's really good.
They kind of unexpectedly work because you would never imagine.
They're so
it.
moody. They're so
Yeah,
dark.
Yeah.
Social Network one is very good.
It's like
that's
buzzing.
another one where I listen to a lot.
Yeah.
And that won the Oscar, didn't it?
Yep.
Or was it? Okay, I knew it was nominated, but I didn't know if
But
it won.
Ben, I thought it was gonna be the Arthur theme song.
It's pretty sick. What's it? Damian Marley?
What?
We just
I'm
talked
just
about
kidding.
it a lot just at work. I just remember singing.
What
it.
about Franklin?
I don't fucking know.
What about
that
Franklin? Fuck
Everybody loves Franklin.
is. Stupid ass turtle.
And that stupid snail. Hey, Ben, quit using a megaphone to talk. Luckily, we fixed that
Sorry about that.
little microphone problem. Do you want to talk about what we watched?
Yep. Our first movie that we'll be talking about is John Carpenter's Escape from New York. It's directed by John Carpenter. As Nick said earlier, it was written by John Carpenter and Nick Castle, who also played The Shape in Halloween. It was released in 1981, starring Kurt Russell, Donald Pleasance, Isaac Hayes, and Adrian Barbeau. Plot synopsis is in the year 1997 when the U.S. president crashes into Manhattan, now a giant maximum security prison. A convicted bank robber is sent in to rescue him. Rotten Tomatoes score of 85% with an average rating of 6.9 out of 10.
You are the Duke of New York. You're number one.
Call me Snake.
So, we have some nerds over here that really
I'm
loved
wearing
it.
my Escape from New York shirt.
And you quite honestly instantly reminded me of an aspect that I don't think works all that well, and
Oh,
that's
what?
Oh, I'm
the Duke.
No, I was
Oh.
going to say Donald Pleasance. I think his acting in that movie was awful.
I
It's
think
def-
sometimes he's bad in general, but
I thought the Duke was fine, but
no, the Duke was fine.
He's just
Chef
there's
from South
nothing
Park.
to him.
I would have liked to have known. Have known more about the Duke.
Yeah, there's literally nothing.
Yeah, he's
to him.
pretty thin.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
Donald Pleasance does not do that great of a job. There are scenes where he it just sits there.
stares,
Yeah,
yeah.
sits and stares. He's in a different.
He doesn't seem like
mindset.
he even gives a shit when they know the plane's going down. And ooh.
I was confused by the pod and plane crash thing. I thought they were gonna crash
Yeah, I thought,
separately.
were they hijacked at that point?
They were
Yeah.
hijacked. Yeah. I thought the pod was going to leave the plane, but they seemed to
just
like
bounced out.
Yeah, just they
It's
and
like
then they
crashed
were
together.
intercepted.
Safety pod.
Yeah.
So, Nick, what is this something in your top 5 of?
Carpenter, absolutely.
Okay.
This is probably my third favorite of the
'cause
Carpenter
I,
movies.
Okay.
I know you. I liked it a lot more. I've seen it before, but in memory, I think I get it mixed up with Escape from L.A. So in my head, I feel it's like goofier and lighter. And
I think someone else on an unrelated note, social media last night made a comment about not liking this movie, and
Battle from New York.
and I think he
really?
he got mixed up with Escape from L.A.
Or Battle LA.
Battle Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
because I don't find this movie to be.
It's
I mean,
not-
to each their own.
it's goofy in some moments, of course, just because it's so like extreme, like
It's like
setting.
dystopian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's goofy. I know Escape from L.A. is goofy.
yeah, like it has
Escape
the
from
surf
LA,
part.
yeah, is like basically a remake of Escape from New York, but with like worse parts about like everything that's good about Escape from New York that kind of fuck up in Escape from LA
Yeah.
and kind of just try and redo it.
Definitely.
I don't think Escape from LA is better in any stretch of the imagination, but I do think there are parts of it that are interesting because they like characters are wilder. You know what I mean?
Like,
Bruce Campbell.
well, he's barely in it, but yeah.
Obviously, parts like the playing basketball for your life is stupid, but
It's funny.
Well, in New
is
York,
fun.
he does the same thing, except it's not basketball.
He
It's
wrestles,
he's
he
wrestling,
fights,
and
he
that's that seems pretty.
yeah, it's way
Sick.
fighting for your life is
Well,
something realistic compared to playing basketball by
Yeah.
yourself.
Well,
yeah.
that's a goofy movie.
Yeah.
it's funny about that scene you were talking about where he's in the, because that guy was an actual professional
Who was
wrestler.
You can
that? Is that
tell.
the-
I don't know I
It
forget
looked
his
like
name.
It looks like the fucking Sheik or whatever.
Iron
It
Sheik.
looks like the guy that the Animal Steel or whatever with a
Well,
beard.
he's in Ed Wood, but that's not him.
Oh. But anyway, I guess he was getting real rough because he couldn't really translate faking it in a context of filming a movie versus faking it in a professional wrestling way. And I guess Kurt Russell had to give him a tap in the balls when they were filming it to let him know, like, if you keep roughing me up, I'm gonna actually punch you in the balls. That's what Kurt Russell and John Carpenter said on the
I
commentary.
heard the commentary is good.
It's really good.
I heard it's really good.
See, my DVD is a real shitty copy, so I had no commentary on mine.
you have the what is it?
I
Shell
just got
Factory?
I
or-
just got the Scream Factory one, and
Okay.
I have the DVD also. But I watched this 2 times in a row, once as the feature, and then I watched it with the commentary, and it's really good commentary.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think John Carpenter's commentaries are always good.
Yeah,
I've never listened to one.
I enjoyed this. I just think it's just fucking cool.
Snake
Yeah.
Plissken is a cool
It's a cool movie.
anti-hero. What, Jordan?
I do think he's cool, but I think he could be cooler. Like some of he should like speak with. I know I shouldn't direct him myself, but like he just like sometimes I'm just like, because he like almost like fake raspy whispers or something, and
Well,
it's like, yeah,
he's mimicking Clint Eastwood. That's what.
okay,
It's very clean. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, but I don't know. It's not as like convincing as like say like somebody like the One-Armed Man in Fire Walk with Me has that real raspy effective voice. Obviously different actors, but I know Kurt Russell can do that better, which he does later in his
on,
career.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's the only reason why I even think about that, which is not really a detriment.
But
to
something
the
I
movie.
love is the just that like it's the Mad Max Warriors mixture of characters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I
it's
just,
definitely
I just
Warriors-esque.
fucking love that. You
Yeah.
know,
That guy that comes up, Romero or whatever his name is.
with the
yeah,
hair
he
sticking
comes up.
straight
Like a
up.
Dragon
He's
Ball
like,
Z character.
He's so weird. He creeped. He from the
Yeah.
moment I saw that movie for the first time, that guy creeped me
Yeah.
out.
I just love that whole style of because you can look at a character and know what they're all about from they don't need background stories, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can just see what they're wearing and you're like, okay, I sort of know what this character's about.
Cabby.
You get the vibe with Snake that this is a character in a sequel that has already been established.
has a story.
Yeah, previously. He's not even really introduced until like a half hour into the movie as
Yeah.
maybe 15, 20 minutes. His backstory, you know what I mean, per se. But I guess that's a John Carpenter thing most of the time anyways.
It's like a slow, like unrevealing.
Yeah.
thing.
It just drops us into a story. It doesn't tell us anything
He,
about anything.
he started off introducing the state of the world pretty much with
Yeah.
the city and and then showing the prison before you got to actually introducing
Characters.
Snake.
I love too that like for us now, 1997 was so long ago, but like for them that was the future. It's just like a cool little like
I always think that's
when
funny.
you watch it
Yeah.
like later on.
And the New York actually made me think a little bit of a less grimy Death Wish.
Well, that's funny you bring that up because I was going to ask you guys. Charles Bronson was one of the main people that the studio wanted for that movie before Kurt Russell. And Chris Christopherson, Nick Nolte, and Jeff Bridges. Do you guys think, I think a Kurt Russell is perfect for that role.
He did good.
But
I think-
would you
I
guys
think
think,
it's
what would you guys think of those
I mean,
other
those guys are
playing?
more like that kind of role though. They're more like typecast to that, like especially like Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
Like that's his kind of movie.
Carpenter didn't want him because of his age.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's
Yeah.
already too old. I think at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah,
where-
he was like a 90-year-old action star.
Yeah.
But also those guys seem more like grounded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Snake
Who
almost
Nick Nolte seems.
he does.
Maybe back in the
back
day,
in the
back
day,
in
yeah.
81.
Yeah. What? Not in Walk in the Woods for certainly.
I don't know what didn't even see it, but
There's a part in that movie that I never knew until I watched the commentary or listened to the commentary. In the beginning, that voice that's coming over the prison intercom, it's like explaining. I forget what it's explaining, but it was actually Jamie Lee Curtis doing that voice.
Oh,
I
wow.
can hear that now.
Yeah,
I can hear that now.
I thought that was
Wow,
cool.
That's pretty cool.
Another-
It's like pop-up video. You got all like the little.
I wrote down a
little
bunch
trivia.
of notes, but I
trivia.
found out, like I said, I found out a lot more about this movie just through that commentary.
I've heard a lot about that.
Did they talk at all about James Cameron, who
He did the
matte paintings? Yeah, for that.
Oh,
movie.
really?
It's unbelievable. Like when you watch that shot of the city
Yeah.
in daylight and at night, and you realize that is a painting, that is just insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, movies.
I felt like
look
the
so much-
setting looked good, and people say like it looks cheap, and I don't think it does.
I don't either.
There's moments where they're just walking through
Yeah.
garbage in an alley.
Well,
But like it never takes me out of the film. I feel like it feels like New York.
Yeah,
It feels like you can
it's
still
like a
oh,
real
this is-
weird version of what we know as New York.
Yeah,
it
like,
was in St.
the
Louis too.
the
So
the setting works so well.
Oh,
I
was
think.
it?
I agree.
I agree that the setting works really well. I don't feel like it feels like real life. You know what I mean?
Well, it's
I
not
don't.
supposed to
that's
be.
fine.
No,
though.
yeah. But like, so the fact that whether it looks real or not, I don't think affects the movie negatively. I actually like the shots that are wider a lot more in this movie, where they can kind of like use lighting to their benefit.
Yeah,
Because when
yeah.
they're close, things
It's
become
real
foggy
dark
and
so many
dark
awesome Panaglide shots.
Yeah.
Like from I think the first shot is a Panaglide shot. Just slowly goes, and it transitions so nicely because it goes by like a black part, and they can make a different cut.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
It feels like
seamless.
one scene.
Yeah.
For one thing, I think this is like a tough guy movie that I like. I'm not saying I don't like tough guy movies, but it doesn't take itself too serious. Sorry, David Ayer, you fucking douchebag. Like I can't like those movies are just like I roll my eyes till they hurt, when that stuff happens. And like I see this movie and he's a tough guy. He's cynical. He's grumpy, and I'm like, cool. He's cool. But I like it. It doesn't make me like.
Do you think it feels like a B movie at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And
for
that's-
sure.
that's
Even though
probably
it
why
has something to say,
That's
but
probably why I appreciate it more because it doesn't take itself too serious.
right.
Because I mean, I like watching tough guy shit's cool, but
Yeah.
like I just get like burnt out on it. But I could watch this over and over again.
It's really watchable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys think this is weird, but I always think it's weird when you see, like, especially since this is the 80s, so obviously 9/11 hadn't happened, but the Twin Towers
Oh,
are
yeah.
World Trade
featured so
Center.
prominently
Yeah.
in this movie. There's a part where that plane, like, crashes in. It's not into the World Trade Center. It's
like
right near it.
On top. Oh, the actual the Air
the
Force
other-
One.
Yeah. It's just bizarre when you
So are you saying John Carpenter?
did 9/11.
what was this
No.
movie's budget? It has a pretty great cast. Ernest
oh,
Borgnine and Lee
7
Van
million.
Cleef and
Harry
Cast, the
Dean
supporting
Stanton.
cast is
Harry
awesome.
Dean Stanton.
7 million, which was at the time Carpenter's biggest budget,
Okay.
and then his biggest budget to this day is Escape from L.A. at 50 million. So
Is Escape from New York the movie that is that what he sued Lockout for? Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
And I like Lockout, but
Well,
I don't blame him for wanting to take legal action. It was a lot of
he won, didn't he? Yeah.
With this movie, you could definitely see his love of westerns, because this just feels like a western. You know,
Lee Van Cleef.
Lee Van Cleef. You run and go. You know, you run into uncharted territory, searching for somebody.
Yep.
There's a whole part when he's on the roof and like the guy, Harry Dean Stanton's like, the Indians or something. They're savages or something like that. And like, I don't know. There's a tough guy that goes to retrieve the people in danger. So you could definitely see a big western influence. And it's like minimalistic still.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie more about the world that it created than its actual plot. It's so simple
because it does do like little subplot things where it's just like, you know, back and forth, and it's just super simple plot of like backstabbing, and but it still works because it is more like the style of the world.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the dynamic between Lee Van Cleef and Kurt Russell throughout the movie? I thought they played off each other pretty well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not in a lot of it, but
it's definitely strong in the beginning. It's very cool.
Yeah,
tense. I feel like this movie is, you know, it's still fun. In this like exploitive B movie world, but I don't know, like he still has that horror movie suspense and like tenseness of like the scene when they're driving through, like he's like, don't take Broadway, and he's like, why, or something like that, and he drives through this crowded street when everyone's throwing. It starts with bricks, and then it turns into like arrows with like flaming arrows shooting at their cab, and it feels like a horror movie.
That's
still.
what it's weird.
It's very suspense.
Weird about John Carpenter is like all of these movies, especially from the 80s, they all are like different, but they definitely feel like what you're saying. Like there's so many different elements that he brings into it where it makes you think, oh, this is a John Carpenter movie. You can just tell, even though you can't really explain. It's not like just all horror movies. There's action. There's a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, I don't even think of like, that's why I kind of poked fun at calling him the master of horror last time, because I don't feel like that's how I think of him. You know what I mean? Obviously, he did
horror,
Halloween, but he has so much sci-fi influence and stuff like that in his movies.
Well, I think there was definitely a sci-fi influence in this movie too, but
for sure.
Like the scene that really creeped me the hell out in this movie is when he goes down in the basement of that theater, and Ernest Borgnine's like, hey, you don't want to go down there, Snake. And like he sees that one room, and they're like just passing around that girl.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't do anything about it, and then he just goes over to, and the guy tries to rob him.
Yeah, it's very much like a Clockwork Orange, where they have the girl on the stage being raped by the droogs early on.
That was the scene that Ben A.B. sequenced, right?
Nope.
What?
Just kidding.
But
anyway,
did you guys feel like it was like, I loved being in this world, but did you guys feel like the stakes were real? Did you feel that there was a lot of suspense?
I see what you mean. I did feel like there was suspense.
Well, what about him being
like,
poisoned? Like that whole thing, you mean too?
That's a good point.
Like the bomb.
Did you feel threat?
If Snake Plissken didn't get back and get the antidote,
he would have
died.
Yeah, but did you care?
Well, I didn't want him to die, so yeah, I did care.
I see what you mean. Like, did you ever feel like he was actually gonna die?
Oh, I mean,
it's more of a movie where you're like, this guy's gonna survive.
It's like the journey.
It's cool to watch.
He's against all the odds.
I don't think like the emotional. There's any real emotional weight to what's happening, because it's also trying to say something about corporate greed and
John Carpenter
Police
definitely
state.
has an opinion about that.
Yeah,
he's libertarian viewpoints that are not.
And this is right when Reagan was in office, and he is not a fan of Ronald Reagan at all. So
that's good.
I cared about, like, I liked Harry Dean Stanton and Adrienne Barbeau. I thought that their characters were interesting, even though we didn't really learn much about them. A little bit about Harry Dean Stanton and Snake's relationship, but when they died so suddenly at the end, I was like, damn. Like, I cared about that.
Oh, really?
I actually, when he said "go left" and blew up, it kind of made me laugh a little bit. So, like, I thought that's kind of the vibe, the vibe that movie gave me, though. You know what I mean?
I feel like you can laugh at that.
Yeah. So, I didn't feel like I liked Harry Dean Stanton's character, but he's not a likable person.
No,
he's
like
double crossing.
a worm.
Worm. Yeah,
self-serving.
Actually, I didn't think. I mean, I thought he was fine, and I like him more in other things.
I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot to work with as
Yeah.
far as that goes, but
Yeah.
He just has very good presence. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Obviously, in Paris, Texas, you can watch him walk around for a half
Yeah.
hour, and it's amazing.
It's just his eyes.
Yeah,
His
very
eyes are
expressive.
yeah.
I wanted to know. I really do want to know more about Snake's past and
Well,
like.
hopefully in the remake they dive
Oh,
more
God.
into it.
wait, are they actually doing a remake?
I read that Emily Blunt is rumored to be Snake. I'm dead serious. I read that.
I think it would be cool if he did it again. Like
So
an
do I.
old, just like I wanted to see an old Mel Gibson Mad Max more than
He
the Tom
said it
Hardy
was his
one.
favorite character that he's ever
he
played.
He could still definitely do it.
Yeah.
I feel like he just
But what would the story be? That's the only question I
he's
would
gonna
have.
escape from some Alaska or escape
Well,
from
did you guys watch the deleted scene,
Miami.
right? In the have you guys?
watch?
No, I watched
I
the
don't
movie.
obsess over this shit.
Well,
What is the deleted
the
scene?
deleted
How
scene
will
is
we know if
is
we
in the
watched
very
it?
beginning. It's the bank robbery scene. It
Oh,
shows
no, I
how
didn't
he
watch
got
that.
taken to
Oh,
prison, and they cut it out completely.
which I like actually. That they
You like
cut
that
it.
they
yeah,
cut it out?
I think
Yeah.
I like that you know less about
Yeah.
that.
It's a
honestly.
whole mystery. Like
You
the-
like it in there?
I wish it was in there.
I think it's just too much.
I like the cut that it's not in. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. I'd
I
have
think
to
the hints
watch
of
them in
the outside
context.
world outside of like New York is very cool. Like they talk about like Leningrad,
Yeah.
and other like countries other cities where this like war is happening. You know, that talks about like the presidential thing. You don't really know what's on that tape at the end.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
just
You don't really know.
Yeah,
like,
they play it for a second, but I had no idea.
It's just to
what-
show you what that the
Yeah.
tape has some sort of
important
something
message.
on
yeah,
it.
because the president of the United States was gonna
which is kind of
Reveal
silly.
they're very uptight about that tape.
Yeah, so I think that's very cool.
nuclear fusion or whatever he said was
Yeah,
on that tape.
yeah, they give you
Dark
vague-
government secrets, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you vague hints of what it's about, which is good because I'm sure if we actually knew, it would be less interesting.
Did you hear about that tape Obama has?
Nope.
It's bad news, guys.
Did you think? Because I thought this was stupid. That again, bringing back to Donald Pleasance, I kind of was just disappointed by him throughout the whole movie. He has a
such
British accent.
Well, it's
Does he?
Yeah,
He just has a silly accent. I don't even know what the hell it is.
like
I didn't notice he had a British
I
accent.
noticed that he had an accent too.
What I do think is good that it helps that we don't care about him, just like Snake does.
Well, he's an
He just
asshole
want-
at the
That's
end.
true.
he
yeah.
just wants to get him to survive.
and
You know
he's
what
self-serving at the end. You can tell he doesn't even really care. Not
No,
really.
when he's
even
getting
thankful.
made up for TV.
But
he
also
doesn't give
neither
a
does
shit.
Snake. The hero doesn't
Right.
care either. But he's probably more appreciative of
Well,
someone
yeah,
saving his life.
earlier in the movie, Snake says like, "I don't give a fuck about your war or your president." He's
Yeah.
literally only saving him because he has to.
Literally for his survival. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Snake works better because he's less defined. Like I said about the tape, the more you find out about him, he'd probably be less interesting.
Yeah.
Which is why he works, because you don't
Exactly.
know that much about him.
Do you guys think the movie as a whole is well made? Like editing,
Yeah.
the photography.
There was one moment where I was confused by an edit, but I don't.
Was it in the
remember.
beginning? There's like a weird fade kind of
There's
thing
like
in the
some-
beginning that I
it's like
noticed.
somebody gets hit, and it's like, it flips like this scene and like Snake hits somebody, and I was confused who was
Like
hitting.
they break the 180 degree
exactly,
line
like,
or
I was
something.
confused on who was hitting who or who was what, and I was like, but that was the only thing. I mean, I think it's well paced. I like.
Oh, I think it's well made, way beyond the script's
Yeah,
capabilities
yeah.
for sure.
Like,
Because I think if there's any issues,
the
it's with
beginning
some
is
of the
like
writing.
typical like procedural like
Yeah.
Carpenter, like people on computers and lights are blinking and stuff, and he likes that shit.
Well, I thought it was funny because those like graphs of the city that come up, like the electronic graphs,
yeah.
that actually isn't digital computer. That was made. They didn't have enough money at the time to do that.
We're all looking at Nick all wide-eyed.
Well, they drew it up with like this tape, and they used a light
I
effect.
heard about that. Isn't
Yeah.
that like they do that with like Star Wars?
Probably.
Oh yeah,
I,
they do it. I forget what you call it, like split screen.
Yeah.
Cinematography, is that what they were calling it?
I don't know. I
Because
just thought that was really cool.
They did that with a lot of those old movies.
Where they had like computer graphs and stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
No, not necessarily. Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they used split screen in 2001 during like the journey to the
Oh.
I forget what they call it.
Like at
To
the
Mars?
end. You
I mean, I
mean?
guess it makes
Yeah.
sense because back then, I mean, computers
Well,
weren't
that
obviously as
2001
accessible.
was made in the 60s.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, and it looks way better than this.
Uh-huh. Did you?
Yeah, it had a much bigger budget. You know, it's a
It's
way
Stanley
different. It's not.
Kubrick,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It's not comparable. Yeah.
What'd you think of the score of this movie?
Good.
Think it worked?
Yeah,
for sure.
I think everything about the production works.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Like I said, one of the things I want to talk about is I think Ernest Borgnine's Cabby is really interesting because he's just like he makes you believe in this world so much more because you can kind of understand what he does. You know what I mean, and how he lives in this world and
lives
deals
there,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like he knows what's going on, and I think he's very important and crucial to the story in that way.
He kind of conveniently shows up sometimes, but that's just
I think but
He's the type of he seems like the type
Just
of character
driving around.
who
follows and-
hangs
Yeah.
around, shows up.
yeah. I see what you mean, but I think that's sort of like a trope that works.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
We all know
hop in
people-
the car, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking mainly of the time where they get the president
Yeah, at
and
the
he's
end.
just there.
Mhm.
But
Well, that's one of
Yeah.
those character moments where when Cabby dies, you can tell that Snake is
he cares.
Yeah, you can tell he
does
cares.
care about him.
because he like
I think he
slowly.
even cares about Brain when he dies too, because he's telling
And Maggie.
Maggie to
Yeah.
just come with him because he can save them. So 'cause I like that, tough guy with a
with a little heart.
little heart.
It's funny because again, me being the guy that has a million different things about the commentary I listen to.
Push up your glasses. Why don't you?
No, listen, this is cool. I thought the Maggie's death scene. They shot it in because at the time John Carpenter was married to her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't that?
They had J.J. Abrams' father was.
Gonna
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Listen, his father was on the staff of the studio, and he got to watch an early cut of the movie. And they didn't show her death scene in that movie, so you never really knew if what happened to her. Well, you obviously assumed she died, but he convinced John Carpenter to go back and actually show it. So they went in their garage and shot that quick shot of her bleeding.
It's kind of brutal.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
she's
she's really bloody.
Yeah, real bloody.
Like,
Pop-up video.
if there are issues that I can bring up, obviously the things that I don't care, which seem to be important when they need to be important. You know what I mean? Like the map of the mines, and
What?
which is the bridge.
Oh.
And,
yeah.
and,
Oh,
and
oh.
Obviously you brought up the little
bombs
bombs in his
neck.
what were they gonna do, his
Go into his
arteries or
arteries
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually liked the guy who put him there. He was an interesting little scientist friend.
He almost got beat up.
Yeah. But there were things that were a little convenient about the storytelling. But like I said, Carpenter makes it feel authentic and rich enough to make it engaging and fun. You know what I mean?
I think
It's more of like plot structure and rather than what it's about. What it's about is actually interesting.
Yeah, I also I really liked Isaac Hayes in it, but I do think his motivation was a little kind of weak. It wasn't. I wish it was more prominent in the
Yeah.
movie
It was
itself.
almost better until they showed him, honestly.
Mhm.
Like the Duke and just being mentioned, and you kind of feel
But
like
he looks sick
Tense.
coming
no,
out in
he
that
he
chandelier
looks
car.
cool, but I'm just saying once
Yeah.
he's
The
actually
chandelier car.
introduced, he's definitely much thinner than before.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
There's nothing to him. Even like his motivation involving kidnapping the president.
Yeah.
Or, you know what?
I
And then
had-
he says he wants to free all the prisoners, but it doesn't go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had to really remember. I was like, why is he doing this? And they're why does he at the end? They're at the wall, and I'm just really. I looked it up because I was like, I just totally forgot why.
Yeah,
he
I
was doing
think
it.
I think
Yeah.
if honestly, I think some of these things are what keep this movie from being a masterpiece. Because
Yeah.
if you dig a little deeper into why he has them and what actually wanting to take those free the prisoners in Manhattan, it would be more relevant to even the themes. You know what I mean? Because it's about those things and how people are kind of brought down by corporate greed and Reaganomics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I definitely think that they needed to have a villain figure though, because
For sure.
otherwise the president wouldn't have been we wouldn't have known why he was
Well,
captured.
yeah, unless they were just the random street people
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
caught
That-
him.
that
He
would
needed
be.
a face to it, kind of.
I honestly think that could be interesting too.
But they probably would have focused on one of them more.
Yeah.
So it would have ended up being the same
Yeah.
thing anyway.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 5. I gonna say Nick's gonna be pissed off at me. I know I rated them the same, but I like it more than Halloween.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm really not
It's really
surprised by that.
it's a taste
It's
too.
exactly. I was just gonna say it's tasty.
Way
Yeah,
different,
This
way
is just
different.
more my movie.
It's
more my type.
a great movie, and it's very appealing to anybody,
Okay.
really.
Before we get more into the ratings, could Snake beat up Mike Myers?
Dick Warlock, Mike Myers, yeah, probably.
All right. So Ben, what do you give it?
I'm on the same boat as you. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
4.5.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying it's not. I love it, but it's not one of my favorite Carpenter movies, so I don't
It's just
rate
so
it as high.
rewatchable. And,
Yeah.
Very fun movie. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Mm.
Are we gonna start
it's
with
not
this?
Approved by.
1 star
Counselor
less
Nick.
than you. I think it's really fun. I'm gonna revisit it often. Probably. It's just there are things that I think there are some holes in there that keeps it from being great, and they are apparent to me. So.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice you probably didn't because I didn't until this watch, the lady in the plane that's taking it down?
Mm-hmm.
That was the nurse in Halloween.
No,
And
I didn't catch that.
in the beginning of Halloween when
That
she's in
just
the
that
station
brings
wagon.
up another point because do they ever go back to like the rebellion kind of aspect?
No.
I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Once they have the president, it's kind of.
Like that's it.
I just
Yeah.
like that.
It's wrapped.
The reason I brought that up is I just think it's cool that Carpenter keeps the same type of keeps the same actors.
But they're
and
the
actresses.
fucking smallest actors.
I know,
Tom
but-
Atkins, he had
Yeah.
just come off of The Fog, and
Right.
he had a pretty small role. But
Yeah,
he's
well,
back.
Jamie Lee Curtis doing that voice, I don't know. Just
Did you guys know that Seth Rogen is in 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yeah, I knew
he's
that.
And This Is the End, and I could just keep naming them. Paul Rudd's
Wes,
also.
Yeah, but it
Wes,
is
but Wes Anderson uses Owen the Wilson.
Well, I think that's
Yeah,
cool.
Owen Luke Wilson?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's cool.
I agree with Nick. I think
It's
cool.
cool. But
It's
like,
just not.
it's not a big
different.
deal.
Yeah.
No, it's not a big deal.
Definitely like the small. Like, did you see that guy that was
That random guy.
Yeah.
You see that bush? He got that bush from that Mike Myers was hiding behind and put it in New York. Nick, what's your rating? Jeez.
4.5.
Yeah. He's,
Ooh, wow.
not a 5,
So-
and this is. Would you say top 3?
I agree with you guys about a lot of the problems you bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of them I overlook many of them
It's
because it is
overshadowed
fun.
'cause it's
Yeah,
fun, yeah.
But yeah, exactly. It's such a watchable movie, and it's you can sit there and nitpick everything.
I think I actually am in terms of Carpenter. I think I might actually favor some of the less famous ones.
Okay. Let's get into
We'll
that
talk
a
about
little bit
that
later. Let's wrap up this Escape from New York discussion before Nick tells us more Easter eggs.
One last, not really an Easter egg, but one last thing. Well, me and Nick saw John Carpenter, and they played this theme. I thought this was one of the best songs that they
Did
played.
he do like
Yeah,
a?
they
what
opened
was
up
his-
with
what
it.
was
They
it-
opened up with
what-
Escape
what,
from New
What
York.
was his like mosh call? What was his like?
There was none for that
Damn.
one.
He did the metal horns.
Yeah,
That's
Did you
pretty
ever
sweet.
dress up as Snake Plissken for
it'd
Halloween?
be pretty easy.
Should have.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
He looks sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he does.
his snake tattoo.
I could see you getting that.
I think that
tattoo.
snake tattoo
Is
is
Metal
awful
Gear
looking,
Solid
though.
Snake kind of
I
inspired
think
from
it's
him at all?
sick. I
Because
think
they
it's-
look the
like
same.
it's goofy because it's so bad.
It looks like a question mark.
yeah.
Oh, I think his tattoo's stupid.
I
His snake
like it.
tattoo's stupid.
I like the
Jordan,
idea of
your
it. I just think it
tattoo's
looks
stupid.
bad.
To me,
My skin tattoo. I got a nipple on my
On my nipples.
nude nipple. Yeah.
So we're gonna take a little break. Our cat just came down to hang out, so we're gonna play with him. Hello. We're
Welcome
back. We're back. Now it's gonna get a little spooky in here. Am I right, Ben?
Yep, we are talking about In the Mouth of Madness, which was directed by John Carpenter, written by Michael DeLuca, stars Sam Neill, The plot synopsis is an insurance investigator who begins to discover that the impact a horror writer's books have on his fans is more than just inspirational. Rotten Tomatoes didn't enjoy this one too much. 51%, average rating 5.2 out of 10.
I'm gonna start it off. I really like this movie. Nick gave me a heads up because there was a while ago where he was trying to get me into Carpenter, and he was just like, "You'll really enjoy this. This has like private eye type of stuff in it. I mean, not enough for my taste, but
It's there a little bit.
it's there. Like the opening scenes when he's interrogating like a con man, basically.
Which is a random character.
Yeah,
actor
an
that's
insurance.
in a
He's an
bunch
insurance
of-
investigator.
Yeah,
Sam
yeah.
Neill's
Yeah.
character.
So that
What's his
part
name?
is
Trent.
John Trent.
John Trent.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that definitely interests me, but I think it's like I'm not. This is a big comparison. This is a big deal comparison, but it's like on the level of like Evil Dead wacky, almost wackiness of just like intensity of like
crazy horror.
after
Yeah.
one after another. Like in the beginning, it just goes. I just love that fucking padded room scene where the hand busts through like, the window. And it's just so cool.
I love that it starts in the basically it's starting at the end, almost towards the end.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing that he's crazy, he's in the insane asylum, he's talking to the doctor, and then it kind of delves into why he's there.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Ian. I actually like this one a lot.
Yeah.
First, like the horror reminded me. I can see the Evil Dead vibe. I get a lot of Clive Barker out of
Like
H.P.
the-
Lovecraft.
Yeah.
kind of
H.P.
stuff.
Lovecraft, Stephen King, even. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
for sure.
I love how I do think there are some issues with it, but I do
Yeah.
love how they even after the bookend where it starts at the end,
Yeah.
and then we show him investigate the fraud insurance.
Yeah.
Because that scene is tense. You know,
Yeah.
he shows how
He's good at
confident
his job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so confident, skeptical. He's kind of the perfect guy to investigate this mystery about this author who goes missing, Sutter Kane, who
Which
writes.
is a cool name.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very cool.
it's a perfect name, and they set up this world and the fans of his book so well.
Yeah,
I
think so too.
And I was just every little scare was the small scares were effective. The bike, the cards.
that
That bike
bike.
was
The bike scene
creepy.
is so sick.
It
Yeah.
looks like Lost Highway with like the shot. It
Does
looks like the
someone wanna
cover of Lost Highway.
Explain the bike scene so people know what it is.
Okay, well, this character who goes with him to find Sutter
She's
Kane
the editor.
because is Sutter Kane's book editor, and Sutter Kane has written a few chapters of his own book and then went missing.
Yep.
The whole time Trent thinks it's a publicity stunt, but the publisher for Sutter Kane, who is Charlton Heston,
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is pretty cool, and they go together to find him in a place called Hobbs End.
Hobbs End,
End,
which is
yeah.
based off of his book.
Yeah, creation of his fiction. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
In New England, New Hampshire.
Yeah, and while she's driving and he's asleep, which I thought was interesting because they kind of show the perspective of not the main character.
She's
Yeah.
the one.
She's
going
the one
crazy.
driving.
Yeah.
Styles,
Yeah.
Linda Styles, and she's just getting tired as she drives, and she sees a person riding a bike, and it's just a kid.
And you hear his.
You can hear. It's like a 1950s kid with like a. Like a clothespin with a
Joker-
playing
with a-
card
yeah, Joker card.
On the
in it.
spokes of his
flicking on the
tires.
spokes, and it's just so effective.
And he's lit up by just the
headlights, yeah.
the back headlights.
And they pass him a couple times.
Yeah, they pass him a couple times, and eventually it turns into
Old
a-
man.
an old man.
Thing.
It kind of looked like it kind of looked like the gypsy and Drag Me to Hell
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Actually, also Bad Grandpa.
But I was just gonna.
Kind
it
of.
reminds
Yeah.
me of
Kind of.
Spike Jones.
yeah.
Because I'm a slut.
But it's so. It's funny that we could watch that and think this is scary.
Oh,
Because-
I think
you know what I mean
it's
because
spooky.
it is it is very spooky. And I was watching this movie with headphones, and I was so into it.
Yeah.
It's completally intoxicating.
The scares are like cartoony.
Yeah,
But they're so creepy and just I was just super into it. Like you could totally feel the Carpenter's like control of the movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think he has much control of the story as he does of the style. That was my.
He
biggest
didn't write the script.
thing. So
I think if there's any issue, it's that after he is given the job and he witnesses Sutter Kane's agent actually go crazy.
Yeah.
That shot is awesome.
I
Where
love
the
you
two
mean
shot of them in the
from
rest.
him
They do
walking.
a
I love that
dolly
shot.
zoom when they're talking.
Yeah,
That reminded me of
and-
Mulholland Drive.
What, Winkies?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Except you're not seeing like
The action in the background while they're discussing something, and that guy's just
he's creepy looking too.
He's
He just
going nuts,
looks
yeah.
at the camera kind of and just slowly starts kind of. It's like that shot. It reminds me of the shot in It Follows when she's looking out the window
Yeah.
and that you see the old woman. She's like so far away. I love shots like that where you
The
see like
background, creepy.
you see something really far away and it just stays on the shot and they just keep getting closer and closer and closer.
like is this scary? I'm not sure if it's supposed to be
Yeah.
scary, and then
but
it
then
gets
it
scary.
gets scary
Yeah.
because you're anticipating. it.
Yeah, it invokes scares that you
It's
experienced
so-
in real life.
Such like fun scares too. Oh, it's so good.
Go ahead.
No, I'm
Happy
sorry.
Gilmore.
I was gonna say Happy Gilmore's grandma was
That
the
part was pretty fucking weird too.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like you're jumping into
She was creepy
pop-up video
when she mutated into.
Well, she was creepy. That
I think
scene-
when she has him handcuffed, I think that's creepy.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
it's like, and
awesome.
there's like no reason. Like
yeah,
there's no.
It's just fucking
If
weird.
there's any, because that whole Twilight Zone experience
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
they go
Yep.
in there is so effective, but I do think they could have done a better job developing the location of Hobbs End.
Yeah.
It is effective. I do love the characters.
like how he found it, or
I
no,
thought
I love how he found
covering.
it.
I didn't like him cutting up those book covers. I didn't
I thought-
desecrating those books. I didn't like that.
I
I liked it, but like it took me 2 times to. I was like, how did he get that? But there was the red line that he was following. That was the map.
Well,
I did think
Yeah.
it was kind of silly that it just showed a state, which
Yeah.
I'm like, if you saw, what was it, New Hampshire?
yeah.
If you
Yeah.
saw just that random shape, you know what I mean? That's kind of like turning mashed potatoes into Jesus. Like you won't,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so you don't really expect to see that. You know,
Yeah.
it's not that clear.
Yeah.
that was the one complaint I was going to bring up. I think and normally I'm for a lean runtime, but I think that this movie could have benefited from a little bit longer of a runtime.
I agree completely because
could-
It didn't dive into its main idea, which is like the whole fiction turning to reality,
Yeah.
or what is reality, or
It's- yeah.
self-awareness, characters that are self-aware.
Like you said in the beginning, I mean, I liked the Evil Dead type, one thing after another coming
Yeah.
at you when
Yeah.
when the story kicked in.
Yeah.
And I really liked the pacing that way, but for story elements, I think they could have been fleshed out a little better
Yeah.
with a 2-hour runtime.
I agree because they develop the real world and how this guy's books are affecting people, and I think that's so interesting, and it's like forcing the skeptical guy to believe them. But when he gets to Hobbs End and fiction becomes reality, it is a little less interesting because the Sutter Kane guy is literally writing whatever he wants, which I don't think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of clever
there's
as an idea,
like,
but
what the fuck is his plot of his book? Like kids go missing,
yeah,
and the townspeople are looking for
the
him.
only thing we know is the apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's
well, they all come to that church, and
Yeah.
it's all like parents of the kids that are missing, and
Yeah.
they like.
Vigo from Ghostbusters 2 is one of the parents
Is he the guy with the
in the
long hair?
bar.
Yeah.
Such a bad actor.
I thought he was cool.
Wait, the guy with the
And
real.
he kills
Wait, he
the-
shoots himself with a
I thought
shotgun.
that guy was cool.
Oh, I love that guy. That guy was one of the parts that worked about
Yeah.
Hobbs End. I
Oh,
thought.
I thought his acting was awful.
Oh, not me. I thought he was effective.
Really?
Yeah, because he actually made that fictional world seem more real.
Yeah, like,
but he was
'cause
like
He
almost
was
looked-
in control.
Yeah, he was in control. He had his own thoughts. He actually had that great line where he talks
He
about,
said,
"I don't
have
know
to-
what's first."
He said, "I have to do this" when he shot himself, or
Yeah,
something like that,
yeah.
or it was written or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably was written.
Yeah.
But I do love when he talks about, "I don't know what came first, me or Sutter Kane
Oh,
to this
yeah,
town."
See,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's
I'm
these
like,
cool aspects of like, what is the reality? Because the whole ending too of you don't know. This is I kind of like the ending.
I actually do not.
There's
I kinda
moments,
hate
but
it.
Really?
There's moments I like it.
I
I think
disagree.
I actually thought it was the ending was really funny. It made the movie more fun, and I remember
It's like meta.
yeah, it's very meta, but I don't know if it works as much as I want it to. I don't feel like I just feel like it's just added on there, and that whole dynamic is kind of weak until that like point where it's just like so blunt. You know what I'm saying?
So what happens is Sutter Kane gives Trent his manuscript to hand into the publisher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, he tries to refuse, but he must do it, which is cool and creepy.
He like does it without knowing because he goes back later and he's like, "Oh, you gave this to me 3 months ago."
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And then all hell breaks loose across the world, basically, and a movie's being made, and he goes and watches the movie and sees shots of himself that we saw from the movie, and he's just like laughing like he went completely nuts.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so cheap. You know, I'm like watching
it.
like the way you cut your own, like a trailer to your own movie that you're watching. I'm
Well,
like,
if you notice the poster when he goes into the theater, it says directed by John Carpenter. So
yeah, and it makes him that. It says
it's like he's
the
watching
actor,
the movie.
yeah.
He
It
just
doesn't say
watched.
starring Sam Neill on the
It
poster.
probably
does it?
says John Trent.
Yeah, it says John Trent. And I don't know. I just thought like cheap. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's how
I'm
you're gonna
very
get
iffy.
there.
I'm very iffy on it. Yeah.
I actually like it, but I see what your point is.
Yeah.
So why do you like? I just want to hear it because Jordan's winning me on the side of maybe not liking. Give me.
I probably won't win because I just like it. I don't like it for real thinky reasons. I think it's cool.
It just worked for you.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Nick?
I like him laughing.
Same
at it.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that Carpenter usually takes the cynical way out on the endings
it's
of his
still
movies.
very cynical.
Yep.
I do like that you don't have to beat the bad guy. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
nothing. It's not conventional.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense how they do it. I just don't think. I thought it was just like
Doesn't
cut
work for
really
you.
bad. Yeah. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
I think that before he goes to the movie theater, basically the thing that gets him sent to the insane asylum, I liked that it was like hearkening back to that shot we were talking about with the editor in the window with the axe, because he just walks up to that guy. Sam Neill walks up to that one guy that just bought the book with the axe,
Yeah.
and he just kills him. It's just like that must be what that guy had gone through earlier in the movie.
Very interesting.
But the part where the editor swallows the keys in the
Yeah.
car,
Yeah.
that was cool.
I thought that whole part was cool with where it kept looping back, where he was trying to get out.
That's
of the
where
town.
all hell started to break
Yeah.
loose
Yeah.
right there.
I actually love the dream within a dream
Yes,
sequence.
I was gonna bring. Oh man.
What do you mean with the cop?
Yeah.
Yeah, the alleyway.
The cop stuff
alleyway
was scary.
Fucking like brilliant. I love that
Yeah.
so much. He walks up, he's like has groceries, and he sees like Hobbs End posters, and he
with a
like,
tear.
and he sees a tear, and he like touches it and looks behind it, and then he hears like a scuffle around the corner and walks down this alley, and it's a cop beating like a hippie, and everyone like these people
Homeless man or something.
Yeah,
Something like
these
that.
people are watching him, and the cop yells something to him, but he like. Then he goes home and is reading Hobbs or one of
those books,
the Sutter Kane books, and is like drifting in and out of sleep and is dreaming of that event, and it's mixing with what he's reading in the books, and it's so awesome. And it even does the thing I don't really like, where it's like you think it's reality
Jump
for a second,
scare dream
and it's
thing.
like, oh no, it's still a dream thing, and like you want some of this, buddy? Like, the cop, the
man.
pig face cop.
I think
awesome.
it's really creepy too when all of those people like once he's in the alleyway, all those people come towards
Yes.
him, and then they just all attack the one guy.
The
editor guy.
It has that kind of Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy vibe where he's like, you're watching something normal, an awful thing, but it's normal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you just see like the bubbles, like the on his face, and
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
like, what hell am I in? And
Yeah.
I think that's super effective. I also love how he's so I love how Trent is so skeptical. He, regardless that this stuff continuously happens to him,
it
he
feels
does
like
not.
a trick.
Yeah, he knows the entire time. He is convinced that it is a giant publicity stunt
Yeah.
that
It's
they're
like a
pulling on
Scully
him.
kinda.
And it's,
Yeah,
and
exactly, Scully.
And it's definitely like you could tell John Carpenter. He's not very pleasant towards like big book companies or big like owners of people's art.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
studios.
Big studios.
He definitely is not a fan of those.
This was
Or
New Line,
cops.
right? That made this.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
think
New
so,
Line.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Any trivia, Nick?
Well, I was going to ask you guys, in summing this up, this was the third film of the Apocalypse trilogy, which is The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. And have you guys seen Prince of
I need to
Darkness?
see Prince
I
of
have not
Darkness.
seen Prince of Darkness.
Okay, you have, Ben.
Yep.
What would you say? Do you think? I mean, they're all not directly related, but they all have a similar.
I see why he compares them similarly. I mean, yeah, they don't really. It's not like they follow each other. You wouldn't have to watch them in like any sort of order.
Right.
All based on
They're
theme.
all three. They're three movies that basically very cynical at the end.
Yeah.
They all have to do with what could be the end of the world. If it's like in The Thing, if the thing spreads, that's the end of the world. In Prince of Darkness, there's a thing in the church. If that gets out, it's the end of the world.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
alert.
But
A lot of the effects in
That's not
this
really a
were
spoiler.
reminiscent of The Thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
And they-
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Practical.
Good
Very
practical effects.
I do think they're. I think they're pretty good, but I think comparable to The Thing, they are not.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think that is a little bit of a problem because it's just obviously it takes place. We don't live in Alaska or
Yeah.
the North Pole. Where does The Thing take place?
I have no.
I forget.
I forget.
But
Antarctica, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. But
the North
North Pole with Santa Claus.
I don't know, some cold place at the North Pole.
yeah.
the North Pole's in Antarctica. We all know, and so is the South Pole because
The world's
that's just-
round.
the
The world's
world's
flat,
round.
actually.
And Saint Nick with the thing.
Okay.
But okay.
You're talking about setting. We're not
Like
used
they
to
have
things.
the upside down crawl with the head right side up. That's real cool.
Yeah.
It was like a Bray Wyatt thing.
Mm-hmm.
For sure the effects reminded me of The Thing because even the tentacles, they actually remind me of Clive Barker creatures too in some ways. But I can also see that H.P. Lovecraft. I've only read one thing.
I think the H.P. Lovecraft thing is more of like the
It's
Sutter
like a nod.
Kane,
Yeah, yeah. There's
Victorian,
definitely
Very
Sutter
Gothic.
I thought
horror.
Stephen King.
Cthulhu.
Oh, for sure. There was there was that nod to Stephen King and like Lovecraft of like just appreciations of.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The time, the setting for Stephen King it ties it
New
exactly.
England.
Yeah,
the New England kind
definitely
of like
can see that.
Yeah,
Hobbs End. for
exactly, and I get that vibe a lot. And I think that's really interesting. Obviously, Stephen King kind of did his own version of this, which is Misery, which is more based in reality.
Yeah.
But they have kind of similar subjects because
Sure. Going crazy.
going crazy over obsession with the book, basically.
Yeah.
But I thought the effects were effective.
Super fun.
Yeah, I didn't say like, oh, that looks fake. You
Well,
know,
the
there wasn't-
CGI
yeah.
and the parts with the church.
and like the
that
tearing,
looked
and
pretty
the tearing
bad.
of reality.
Yeah. I mean, I could look past it. But
Yeah,
The-
it didn't take me out of it.
The Happy Gilmore's grandma caretaker effect when she turns into that mutation monster thing down in the basement. I thought that was one of the best
yeah,
effects parts
yeah.
because it's like you can't really tell what's going on as far as the lighting, but you can
Yeah.
see. It's just really good.
Yeah, I agree. I do wish they showed they shot it a little smarter by like not just flat out showing you
Yeah.
straight on
was
what it
pretty-
is.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I think she's so scary because you just get that vibe of I don't know who this is and what's going on, and she's like, oh, I didn't paint that, and the guy just laying there, and you know something's there to her, but you
Yeah.
don't know what, and
Yeah.
then they just kind of
Show him.
flat out show it straight on. I think they should still do it, but maybe shot it a little smarter.
Yeah.
Well, I thought some of the lighting in this movie was great too. Like
too.
that when he's on the bus going home, that blue
Well,
Yeah.
it's Sutter Kane says your favorite color is blue, and
Yeah.
then everything
Yeah.
turns blue.
Yeah.
I
looks
thought that was
so
sick.
awesome.
Well, you love the blue and the underneath that Steven Soderbergh
Ooh
movie.
yeah.
You know what I can't believe is that John Carpenter wanted to work with Sam Neill after Memoirs of an Invisible Man, and he's
He's a
great
nice
in this
guy, I'm
movie.
sure.
He's
a
really
good actor.
He's a
actually,
great actor.
He's good in this.
He's great in
'cause
this movie.
He actually made me laugh.
He's
Well,
cast well in this.
Yeah.
This was right after Jurassic Park, wasn't it?
I think.
Pretty
Yeah, it was like
sure.
a year or so after.
I really think Sam Neill is a really good actor.
No, I think he is too.
In
just
all
not
I've seen him in.
just not in Memoirs.
Yeah.
No, but that's just a piece of shit. So
yeah.
He could have done better.
he wasn't
He could
written
have
well.
done better in Memoirs. That movie.
He
I'll
probably,
fight for
if he
them.
picked one actor out of that, it probably should have been Chevy.
Chevy should
Imagine Chevy in this.
Man, like not taking it seriously.
I'll show you my mouth.
Like playing. Oh yeah.
What would you guys rate this?
I really enjoyed it, but I feel like I was a little bit disappointed story wise. I even like the idea of the what's reality and the self-aware characters of them being in a book, but I just didn't think it. I think it got a little messy, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5, even though I really had a lot of fun with it. Again, this would be something I would like show Donovan, because it's like fun, scary. Because he doesn't like horror movies, and I'm always trying to get him to watch horror movies. So I think I could talk him into some Mouth of Madness.
I would give it a 4 out of 5, just like Escape from New York. I'm not really sure. Like we've said before, ratings are whatever. I'm not sure which one I like more, but it's just very effective. I saw this movie for the first time only a month ago. It was after we saw John Carpenter live, and it hits all the spots for me because I love books. I love the author aspect of that, and it's all the scares in it. It's just an effective horror movie. So, yep, 4 out of 5.
I'd agree with a 4 out of 5. I think what's keeping it from what's bringing it down a peg from a 5 out of 5 for me is the longer runtime discussion we talked about.
Yeah.
If it flesh out a little bit more of the story elements, I would give it a little bit more of a better rating, but still 4 out of 5. It's probably one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite. Well, it's not my favorite John Carpenter movie of the 90s, but it's close. Vampires.
Oh, okay.
But it's definitely one of his best movies.
One more thing. As far as, for me, this is the last movie in the 90s, or it's pretty much his last recent movie that he made that I love a lot. Because from then on out, it's either okay or not good. So for me, this is his last really good movie.
What happened to him if he bumped his head or something?
I don't know.
I would give this movie a 4. I do really love this movie. It has a lot of issues, but it does something that so few movies do for me, and that's it creates an atmosphere that really sucks me in and is super engaging and even scary. It's rare when movies do that for me, and well, not rare, but rare when they do it on this level. And for that reason, I can forgive most of its flaws. I'll probably buy this movie.
Ooh,
I really liked it.
I do really love the just those initial scares are just so cool. The axe scene and the padded cell scene is very.
And the
very
bike.
It does something. Yeah, it does things so well.
Easter egg boy coming in for some more
Mr.
info.
Easter egg.
Did you know John Carpenter ate Subway every day?
The scene that you guys are just talking about in the padded cell when the glass breaks, that actually slit Sam Neill's neck and he got really pissed off. Apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
You got anything else?
Nope. I don't have any more info for this one.
This movie was made on an $8 million budget.
Who drew the crosses in the cell?
I have no fucking idea.
What type of crayon did he use? Did he use
The best
rose?
Easter egg I thought of that was funny that you dismissed was Vigo from Ghostbusters 2. I thought he was so bad in it.
Well, I enjoyed him. I thought he was creepy. And
No. I really liked him. I really liked him as well. He was the part of Hobbs End that worked the most. He's the only person that brought kind of made it a little grounded.
He's the only one that kind of focus on though. So
No, that's fair. But he's the one who leads the posse that goes to the church. Obviously, the problem is they go to the church right away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They need to kind of explore the town a little bit more and get into things. But I feel like he's a character at conflict with who he is because he doesn't know if he's real or not.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I feel that too.
agreed.
So what do you guys think? What would you what would your out of the ones we watched and John Carpenter's filmography in general,
this is,
how would you
wrapping up the John Carpenter month?
Yeah.
So.
How would you rank them?
You, Nick.
You go.
You're the most opinionated with Carpenter.
John Carpenter is he took the top spot for my favorite director of all time. Halloween,
before?
Michael Mann.
Oh.
But the more
I don't even like him that much.
Yes,
Just
I
be
do.
honest.
The more I discovered
The more you watched Michael Mann, the less you liked him.
No. The more I watched of John Carpenter, the more I came to terms with myself.
I'm really glad you chose this because you've been talking to me about John Carpenter, and I've seen his popular movies, except his most popular.
Well,
I really got into it.
I feel like this one, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I feel like In the Mouth of Madness is one that isn't talked about.
It's
a whole lot.
underrated.
It's definitely underrated.
So
for
that's
sure.
why I thought this would be a good one to do for that
No,
reason.
this was a great one.
It's
This was a
not-
pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah, I did not expect it to be like this. I do think a lot of his movies kind of get like a fanboyish vibe, like Big Trouble in Little China.
See, that's lower on my list, really.
Yeah, and I like that movie too.
too.
But
I
You know
mean,
what
I
I
should
mean?
say higher.
His fans are very extreme.
Yeah, the people- like,
there's always like the figures of that movie. And,
Well, just
like,
us going to that
toys
concert.
and-
did you guys
Yeah.
see that letter? The fake or not fake? I don't know if it's fake, but the disgruntled previous Warner Brothers
Yeah.
letter, and he signed himself as Gracie Law, which is the what's the actress's name? The Sex and the City, Kim Cattrall.
I have no
That's
clue
the
what you're
character in
talking
Big
Yeah, yeah,
Trouble,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Halloween obviously is my favorite one. The Thing, second favorite, and I'd go with Escape, my third favorite. I think In the Mouth of Madness would be higher in the top 10, but it's still very solid for me.
Does
What
he
about
have-
memoirs? Where is that right?
Memoirs, I wish
Bottom.
that didn't even exist. And I didn't see Dark Star, and I didn't see Elvis.
The Ward.
I didn't see The Ward either, but I just have no interest in seeing that.
So Ben, what's your top?
My top favorite is The Thing. For last episode, Nick thought he knew my list, but he had no idea.
Just like he thought he knew your score.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh, I knew
He
his
has
score.
no shit about me.
Oh, I knew his score.
No, but The Thing, I'd say like Halloween, Escape from New York are kind of. I think I like Halloween more.
What about The Fog?
I wish I liked The Fog more than I do. I do like The Fog, but every time I watch it, I kind of wish I liked it a little bit more. I think They Live is in my top 5. In the Mouth of Madness, I'd say is, like Nick said, in my top 10, but I wouldn't say it's one of my top ones.
See, with They Live, I really need to get. I want to like that movie more than I do. When I watched it the first 2 times I saw it, I was kind of lukewarm on it. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, not in a long
not
time.
in a long time.
I want to like that more because I think there's a lot there to like.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For sure. Mine, I would The Thing's on top, and then I think Assault on Precinct 13.
I want to like that one more too.
What else? But they're my top 2. I would throw probably Mouth of Madness up in there somewhere. I don't know.
Say I didn't like Halloween.
I swear to God, I would watch Memoirs again before Halloween.
Bullshit.
I swear to God, I would. Because I'm a Chevy head.
Yeah.
Chevy.
No, Halloween's on the top 5 too. But I'm so bad at lists.
Say I didn't like The Fog when you and I watched
No,
it.
I did like The Fog. I don't know if I would. Maybe I could appreciate it more again. I don't know. But I liked it.
You guys need to see Vampires. Now I'm
I've
telling
seen
you.
Vampires.
I
Yeah,
do,
but
yeah.
have you? Because you saw it so damn long ago.
It definitely deserves a rewatch.
Discussed,
Yeah, there's some things
podcast.
that I wish I have seen more recently that he's done, like Star Child.
Well, you love Christine.
I love Christine. Like
Starman.
Yeah.
Star
Star
Child
Child is
is
2001.
fucking
We were
yeah,
talking
it's-
about that.
Okay. So my top is The Thing. My top 3 is The Thing, Assault, and then
Starman.
Star.
See, I never saw.
Starman.
You know what? I never saw that one, and I need to
it's
see
really
it.
good.
Yeah. I saw it like maybe in 9th grade on like Retroplex or something, and I was like really into it, but it's been so long.
Yeah.
For me, it would be Christine would be up there.
Well, tell us what you really like about Christine.
You know, it's got similar qualities to me as In the Mouth of Madness, because I think the themes, the theme of jealousy and relationships and that high school setting just works so well. Like the bullies in high school, there's like a realness to it.
Yeah, that was
that
that made me feel gross.
It's very grimy and effective, and I think that like the fact that it's caught there and a protector, which is the vehicle, your first car, and it basically becomes his true love in a way. You know what I mean? And I think he explores those themes better than he does in almost any of his movies, besides The Thing. I think that, but it's just super effective. Like in The Mouth of Madness, it takes me it sucks me in. Like, I can see those shots of just Christine driving at a person running in front, like the headlights, and it works so well. I know it's harder to make like an inanimate object that really doesn't do anything besides what a normal car would do works so well, but it does. And Christine would be up there for me. In The Mouth of Madness. What else?
Ghost
The
of
Thing.
Mars.
No. The Thing for sure. Halloween would be up there, but I'm like kind of bored by it just because you know what I've seen it.
A lot to be
Yeah.
bored by when a movie's so good.
It's like it's just so typical to me that I'm
Yeah.
kind of bored by it. But I would probably pick those four.
I like that list. That's a good list.
Yeah, I wish we did Christine for this because I want to watch that again very badly.
maybe
Watch it again.
Maybe we'll do a car themed episode.
Yeah.
I have to watch these movies at 6 a.m. before we
Yeah.
do this every day, so I have a little
So-
trouble.
We're gonna wrap it up, but
Yeah.
before we do, we have this little weird thing we're gonna do. So next month, what's our theme next month?
Why don't you give it up?
I'll go. Next month, we're going to talk about. We're actually going to do a movement for once, and we're going to do the American New Wave or New Hollywood, which is a time in cinema history where studios like the typical Hitchcock studio system and other things, people just got sick of it. There was the counterculture movement. There was directors, younger producers started to be in charge of things and who would give young directors chances.
So
Chances to do what they want.
years
So
are
it
we
was
looking at?
when movies got shittier is what you want to do.
I would definitely not say that. But, I'm sure you've seen very few of. I'm sure you've seen very few of the golden era of Hollywood,
Oh,
which precedes
I'm sure.
it. But it was influenced by things like German Expressionism and the French New Wave, and kind of directors who brought some very American qualities
So bring your
to their.
So next episode, bring your textbooks and get learned.
They brought very American qualities to a much like more poetic kind of less plot structured cinema, and it's interesting in
Well, when
many
you say
ways.
new wave, do you mean Duran Duran or Tears for Fears?
So what movies are we watching?
We're actually gonna do Bonnie and Clyde, which is the one that started it all, directed by Warren Beatty. And then I think we're going to take a look at Medium Cool, which was actually might tie into this year's election cycle. I haven't seen it yet, which is directed by Haskell Wexler as well.
Be Cool. That has John Travolta in it. Does that have anything
All
to
right.
do
That's the
with it?
Before
sequel
you
to
get-
Get Shorty, right?
Yeah.
Confusing. We're we're doing Bonnie and Clyde and Medium Cool next month, but also
Yes.
next month we have an extra week since we do every 2 weeks. We have an extra episode.
Yep.
So we're gonna do requests. So for our third episode this month, you're gonna email us at what's the email?
Anotherlookpod.
So
Anotherlookpod@gmail.com. Please send us suggestions for that bonus episode, and we will gladly
Pick
So-
two.
pick
We're
two
gonna
of
pick
those
two- pick-
movies,
yeah,
as
pick
long as
two.
they're not absolute shit.
If you guys are going to pick Porky's and Gone Fishing with Joe Pesci,
We would
I'm
do
sure
that.
we'll get some trolls, but we'll siphon
I swear
through
to
those.
God, Nick was probably gonna fucking email the.
yeah,
and-
I'm going to create an
He's
email
probably
address.
just gonna pick Batman and
Batman
Halloween.
Returns.
Yep.
If you actually have a theme,
It's a
that
good
would be
idea.
more helpful, because that would be interesting to
Yeah.
talk about how movies connect or relate to each other too. I would not mind doing Porky's and Gone Fishing,
Yeah, that would
but
be
they are not the worst
two
suggestions.
movies that make me horny.
Yeah.
Basically,
Gone Fishing.
what you cannot do is pick Batman Returns or.
Why the hell not?
Well,
Or-
we'll look through
Please,
the emails. And
somebody
pick.
please pick that.
We
So
promise
again,
we'll pick a
it's
suggestion.
Anotherpod@gmail.com.
Another look pod
Anotherlookpod@gmail.com.
And if
one more time, anotherlookpod@gmail.com.
woo,
So we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks so much.
please
Bye.
pick Batman Returns.